First of all, I am so proud of your commitment, your courage, your determination, and I'm also in empathy and sympathy of your pain. For today, as we have the culmination of the very strong visual sights of brutality, the brutalizing of women, I will say to you, and I will join you, that the enemy of my enemy is not my friend. And that is the message that I will carry as we proceed in a separate but independent discussion on nuclear resolution. That the abuses and the actions of Iran cannot go unaddressed, and they cannot ever be excused. I want to read to you the words of the UN General Assembly when they proclaimed this day, December 10th, as Human Rights Day in 1950, to bring to the attention of the peoples of the world the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. This year's slogan, Human Rights 365, encompasses the idea that every day is Human Rights Day. It celebrates the fundamental proposition in the Universal Declaration that each one of us, everywhere, at all times, is entitled to the full range of human rights, that human rights belong equally to each of us and bind us together as a global community with the same ideals and values. I don't understand how, in the instance of Iran, as it sits at the United Nations, why the issue of human rights should not be paramount in any recognition and dignity given to Iran as a nation. What is the question of their human rights? As we look now at Camp Liberty, and I believe it is important that the message remain that the treatment of those in Camp Liberty, the committee that has been used in Camp Ashraf and now again in Camp Liberty, where doctors and physicians and medicine are not allowed in, is a clear human rights violation. And so today, as we come to acknowledge the pain, but also the instruction that all of us come under this umbrella of respecting the human dignity of all people, I rise in strong support of HRES 754 that speaks to the pain, but yet the instruction, the roadmap. And I'd like to refresh your memory, for it is a very detailed document that I believe should have the strength of Congress and the signature of the President of the United States, because it calls on the government of Iran to abide by all of the international and domestic obligations with respect to human rights and civil liberties, including freedoms of assembly, speech, and press. I would ask Iran, are you doing that now? Deplores a dramatic rise in execution of Iranian citizens by authorities since the election of the new president in June 2013. I ask Iran, are you executing the innocent now? Condemns in particular the recent cruel execution of Ms. Jabari, an Iranian woman convicted of killing a man she said she stabbed in self-defense during sexual assault. I'm asking Iran, are you allowing women to be sexually assaulted, and are you doing nothing? You're in violation of human rights. Deplores the government of Iran's mistreatment of the religious minorities, including the deprivation of life, liberty, and property. I ask Iran, are you providing opportunities for religious minorities? Condemns in particular the government of Iran for its relentless persecution of the Baha'i minority. I ask Iran, in particular, are they citing unique and special groups, such as those who live and seek liberty in Camp Liberty? Called on the government of Iran to release all political prisoners and prisoners of conscience. Notes that the administration has designated only one Iranian person for the commission of serious human rights abuses under the Comprehensive Iran Sanctions Accountability and Divestment Act, and I ask that we move those numbers up. to be able to ensure that Iran understands the dignity of all people, urges the President to increase the utilization of all available authorities, including the Comprehensive Iran Sanctions Accountability and Divestment Act of 2010, to impose sanctions on officials of the government of Iran and other individuals directly responsible for human rights abuses. There must be consequences to one's violence and brutality. And I urge my own government, by supporting this resolution, I stand here as a member of our Human Rights Commission in this Congress, that we continue to work to seek that violations of freedom of religion or belief and related human rights are part of a multilateral or bilateral discussions with the government wherever and whenever we are talking to Iran. These very discussions on a nuclear resolve are the very discussions to have these crucial elements of life and liberty and human rights and human dignity. Continue to speak out publicly and frequently at the highest levels about the severe religious freedom abuses in Iran. And believe that there is a basis of being excused because you're now at the world table of peace and reconciliation on the question of nuclear resolve. So I come today no less pained by what we have seen together over a decade, no less pained to hear from those who understand, families who are left behind, and those who are both in Camp Liberty, but as well suffer throughout Iran. I believe it is important that our sister who wants to be home, wants to lead in Iran, who now leads from Paris, France, continues to espouse questions of liberty, dignity, and the questions around the horrific murder and discounting of life. So today you come together, and I can only say to you that you're not alone. I've been told that Camp Liberty is being blocked again, as I started out, by doctors and medicine. And so I'll be encountering the State Department as quickly as possible to find out why all of the resolve that we had with Camp Liberty and the peace that we're supposed to have and the recognition by Iraq that it is not the way it should be. I also believe this legislation is vital as the nuke discussions go on, negotiations, that the table of discussions and negotiations includes the horrific violations of human rights of all people. So let me thank you very much for allowing me to be here today. Let me commit to the continued oversight of Camp Liberty. Of course, you are the ones that provide us with that important insight. And let us plead on one hand for the recognition of all of our humanity, that the harassment stops, that the denial of health care, denial of the needed help to the sick stops immediately, that we will again rise to ensure that those human rights are the rights of all and never to be extinguished, and that those who are denying them pay the consequences from the world international family that believes in that human dignity. Thank you all so very much for your presence here today.